Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, we're all about highlighting inspiring people, engaging topics, and small businesses. And don't forget, while you're here, like, subscribe, and share this YouTube channel, and like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. We might make sure you don't miss a thing. All right, business owners, coaches, and entrepreneurs. You are looking for ways to build your business, grow your brand, show yourself as the expert in your field. But it's hard to do one person at a time or one event every single weekend. Have you thought about doing an online course? Well, I've got somebody here today who's going to talk about online courses, what, why, and who should be doing them. Everybody, please say hello to Geoffrey Kent. Hi, Geoffrey. How are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. Geoffrey, thank you for being with us today because this is an interesting topic we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
So, Geoffrey, before we get started, tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're located.
So I don't tell everyone I'm a semi-retired serial entrepreneur. My youngest just graduated from college this past May, so
Awesome.
I've got one foot out the door. But I'm based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and as I said, I'm a semi-retired serial entrepreneur. I've been doing this for 5 decades.
Wow.
I started my career in the corporate world. Started with Xerox, went to AT&T. 11 years into my career, decided to get an MBA from the Wharton School of Business. Then worked for Julius, Dr. J. Erving, the basketball player, for a couple of
Wow.
years. Then went to Deloitte Consulting, and then at the age of 41, decided even though I was doing well in corporate America, I wasn't really all that happy, and I was doing entrepreneurship part time and flailing at it. But I loved what I was doing entrepreneurially. So I basically decided at that point that it was more important to be happy than rich, and
Wow.
so I made the shift to full time entrepreneurship at the age of 41, and it was the best decision I've ever made in my life. Every venture that I've launched since the age of 41 has been incredibly successful.
Wow. Congratulations on all of it. Mostly getting your kid out of college. That right there is a huge win.
Thank you.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
And because you're in Philly, for those of you who know me know, I am a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Oh,
So
okay.
the
Okay.
fly, Eagles fly. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It makes me so
I
happy.
like you already then.
It's my favorite thing. That is so awesome. But you have had a very interesting, colorful, eclectic career in corporate. Now, a lot of people watching and listening who are call themselves serial entrepreneurs, they heard you say semi-retired. What does that mean as a serial entrepreneur?
Semi-retired means that one, I'm old, and two, so I've had the experience of launching from nothing, exponentially growing something to a desired exit,
Mhm.
and along the way hiring a lot of people. I don't want to do that anymore. So
Mm,
I can't imagine me being at a place where I could stop working altogether.
right.
I'm not wired that way, but I'm what I'm trying to do is as young people say, create side hustles. Just passive streams of income that
Sure,
don't require me to be in front of entrepreneurs 24/7. So
sure.
I've got a book that's about to be released. I built an online course to assist entrepreneurs. I public speak fairly regularly.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to do things like that allow me
Ah,
to um,
so the working
if I
smarter
do
and
need to
not
come in,
harder.
I can swoop in and help someone really quickly and get back
Yeah.
out. But I'm a military brat. My dad, his career, well, he started in the army
Hmm.
during World War II, and then went to
Wow.
college on the GI Bill, and
Hmm.
then went into the Air Force as an officer. And so he spent 21 years in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
And so I've had the opportunity to live on 4 continents and 10 of the 50 U.S. states. So I really miss traveling as
Hmm.
much as I did when I was a kid. So
Sure.
I actually am trying to create a lifestyle of being a global nomad.
Oh, I
And
love that.
so
I'll
the
have to
other,
introduce you to some people because I have some friends who literally are doing that. They
oh, okay.
work and live all over the world. One of them is actually in Denmark right now, one is in
Oh,
France, and
okay.
somebody else is in Paraguay. I,
Okay. Okay.
so it's a possible thing. Now, Jeffrey, one of the things that you said is I like that as a semi-retired entrepreneur is
Mhm.
that you are looking for ways and things to build passive income, like your
Right.
book that's getting ready to come out. But that great segue, by the way, into what our topic is today, these online courses. Now,
Mhm.
you have created an online course, you said, that will help entrepreneurs. And it sounds like you created it, like you said earlier, to that passive income. But as we talked about in the introduction, an online course is a great way to build your brand, build your business,
Right.
and set yourself up as an expert. Talk to us a little bit about how did you decide to start an online course and what kind of steps did you take to get there?
Yeah, so it really came from, so my very last entrepreneurial venture was a private cloud information technology business, right? So I sold it 11 years ago,
Mm,
and after selling it, again, I had morphed it into one of the fastest growing companies in the world,
wow.
and sold it 6 years after I launched it. So
Mm,
um, coming out of that venture, I just had entrepreneurs reaching out to me left and right, on a daily basis, asking
mhm,
me different questions about, Jeff, how did you do this? How did you partner with Dell Computer? How did you get a 7-figure deal with the school district of Philadelphia? How did, so on and so forth.
right.
And I would have these conversations with entrepreneurs on a daily basis. And there was one theme of I guess, advice that I was getting from people I was trying to
Mhm,
mentor. And it was, Jeff, you have way too much knowledge in your brain. You need to share this with the world.
wow.
Um, you need to write a book.
Mhm,
And so I started down. This is about a decade ago. I started down the path of writing my own book,
sure.
but I was working with someone that tries to help people get book deals, and so
Mhm,
he started introducing me to people in his ecosystem. And he introduces me to a company based in Seattle, Washington, that takes
mhm.
author content and converts it into online coursework.
Oh, wow.
So the CEO of that company sat me down. And she's like, Jeff, stop writing your book. Young people don't like to read. They need to be entertained with videos. No, by the way, you're narrating this entire course, and you
Mhm,
have to write all the dialogue for narration. By the
yeah.
time we're finished, you're going to have everything you need for your book. So I
Mhm,
pivoted, created this online course, and then actually, anytime I make a major decision in business, I assemble an informal focus group. So
mhm.
I had
That's a
I
good idea.
assembled a focus group, had them take the course. I
Mhm.
got great feedback about the course itself, but they're like, no one knows who you are, Jeff, outside of Philadelphia. You need to work on
Wow.
personal branding. And
Mhm,
so as I started, taking in this advice, working with people, people kept getting me back to, writing a book. So I
mhm.
took that back up, and I'm almost done. Hopefully that'll be released in the fourth quarter. But
Okay.
that's how I came up with the online course. It
Wow.
was just listening to my audience. It was,
Mhm.
entrepreneurs that I was mentoring saying, you need to share your knowledge.
That's
Right.
so
And
good.
so I had to find a way to do that. As I said,
Mhm.
it started off being a book, but the book turned out into
Morphed.
an online course, which is
Yeah.
now becoming a book again.
Which I think is so great because a lot of people have a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, a lot of coaches, trainers, speakers. They will get the same question from
Yeah,
audiences over and over and over. And
absolutely.
I like what you've done. You've taken those questions and answered them all at one time and put them in this one genre, if you will, where people can free. One of the things you said, which I thought was really interesting, you
Mhm.
conducted a focus group.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would have never thought of a focus group. Where did you get these people from and how did you get them to, hey, take this course?
Well, so when I talk to entrepreneurs about focus groups, and virtually anything as it relates to entrepreneurship, I
Mhm,
said, when we're teaching people about entrepreneurship, we overcomplicate things. A
mhm,
lot of
mm,
this is really just common sense, and so it's really simplistic, and you can make it too hard. So when it comes to focus groups, I tell people, you know, when you think about what a focus group is, it's just an incredibly diverse group of people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, if you think back on your personal experiences, where would you have come across usually diverse groups of people? And I
Mm-hmm.
say, you really, all you have to do is go back to, say, either your high school class, or if you went to college, your college class,
Mm-hmm.
because chances are the people that you hung out with in either high school or college,
Mm-hmm.
all of you are probably in completely different fields,
Sure.
just doing all kinds of crazy things. People tend to uproot and go all across the country. So more than likely, all you have to do is look into your own Rolodex of
Yeah.
contacts, either from high school or college. Chances
Mm-hmm.
are you're going to know as many men as you know women. You're going to know, from you'll be able to find a diverse group of people from racially, religiously,
Mm-hmm.
how any way you want to slice this.
Right.
And it's really just, hey, if I'm gonna, you only need 10 or 20 people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just think of, okay, if let's say the number's 10, okay, I'm gonna get 5 women, 5 men.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get, and then just all the other ways that you can break it down, break it down.
Mm-hmm.
So, geographically, let me make sure that, two of the people are in the east, two in the west, two in the south, two
Sure.
in the north, two in the, middle of the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
That's really all you have to do.
That's interesting.
Just make sure they're not, and if it's 10 people, again, no two people from the same field, right?
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and and it's just incredible when you do this,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't think about this. We're always in our own head, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we don't think of how, even though you start a business, you're trying to sell to the world, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't think. We're so focused on ourselves, we don't think
Right.
how other people think, and
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to sell to other people. So you have to know
Get
how they
into
think.
their heads as
And the
well.
focus group is really helpful in that,
Mm-hmm.
I've used this. So I go back to an old business. I
Mm-hmm.
remember hiring a marketing firm to develop a logo for
Mm-hmm.
the company and a company name. And when they gave me like 3 different logo treatments. They came up
Mm-hmm.
with, I think, 3 different company names. And I just happened to be, the weekend after I'd gotten that information from the marketing company, I was going to a cookout at my sister-in-law's.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying, oh wow, this would be a great time to actually get feedback.
Right.
And so I went to the
Oh.
cookout. I had these logo treatments.
Mm-hmm.
I'd written out the names of the company, the 3 different names. I just went into the backyard where everyone was, and I just took one of the picnic tables and just
Mm-hmm.
put everything on the picnic table, and then just started grabbing people, bring them to the
Hey, what do
picnic
you think
table.
of this? What do you think
Yeah,
of this?
yeah. Which one of these do you like the best? And then
Right.
tell me why. You know,
Mm-hmm.
excuse
That's
me. And
awesome.
yeah, yeah. And the feedback, it was just like, because I remember this experience. I
Mm-hmm.
remember taking someone who was an engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and um, so he's telling me the logo that we ended up using.
Mm-hmm.
When he was telling me why he liked that, it was a perspective I would never have come up with.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's so
I
true.
don't think like that. I don't view the world through that lens. And so I
Mm-hmm.
would never, but he was
Yeah.
he was talking about what he liked about it was, how architecturally it, you know, it
Wow.
gave power because of, it was using like
Mm-hmm.
a pyramid structure and so on, so forth. And I was like, I I would never come up with that, right?
So your focus group gives you different perspective,
Yeah,
different opportunities, give you different options, if you will, and it gives you
exactly.
something you wouldn't otherwise have.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
so
absolutely.
true, so
Yeah.
good. So then, Jeffrey, when you started your online course
Mhm.
and you said that you hired some folks to help you, how long does it take to get your online course up and running? How long does that take?
Um, from start to finish, it probably took me about a year to develop the course. And,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once I had developed it, hosting it on a software platform, all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
simple and it can be done literally in a day. But
Yeah.
to write the course,
Mm-hmm.
because you want to write it, you want to get feedback on it as you're
Sure.
writing it.
Mm-hmm.
That whole process took me about a year. Now
Okay.
I did this
Mhm.
during COVID.
Oh,
So
well, what else were you doing? There you go.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Didn't
So
have
I
anything
so I
else.
actually
Couldn't
had
go
time.
anywhere.
So I might have been going slower than I should have
Sure.
because I could afford to
Hmm.
do that.
Right.
I probably could have written it faster,
Mm-hmm.
but it took me about a year.
Now,
Uh,
you said one thing about a platform too. So, because now there is software for absolutely everything,
right.
from putting the course together to, manufacturing it, I don't know, to putting it on platforms. How expensive is it to start and produce, if you will, an online course?
So I would say I'm using a variety of different types of software. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm probably spending about $400 a month on all the
Okay.
different software.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
I've got the course resides on a platform, right? On
Okay.
one platform. You have to have a platform for people to pay for the course. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
completely different software.
Right.
Um, the course is interactive, so
Okay.
it's you're doing exercises, you're watching videos, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to other websites, you're doing case studies. When you're
Mm-hmm.
watching videos, those videos are hosted on another software platform, right?
Wow.
So all of this is you don't know this is you're just taking
Mm-hmm.
a course and seeing it
Sure.
on your computer, but all
Yeah.
of these different platforms are interacting with each other.
With each other to make
Yeah,
it work.
yes. So
So you're spending $400 a month
mhm,
to produce and put this out there.
yeah.
Then how lucrative is it on the other end? Because if it's on all these platforms, you're paying $400 a month, you got this amazing course, people, I guess, are finding it. Is it a lucrative passive income?
Yes, yes.
In a word, I
So
like it.
basically, my cost to host everything, if one person takes the course, they've paid for my costs for all of my
Okay.
hosting costs for the year.
That is phenomenal to hear. So here's my next question. Is an online course something that any entrepreneur can do, or is it something they need to consider?
Yeah, I mean, anyone can do it, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to consider it absolutely as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I go back to why I did this in the first place. So part of because I'll get asked, Jeff, what makes you unique? And so um, as it relates to entrepreneurship,
Mm-hmm.
I've done this. I mentioned I've launched more than 20 ventures over 5 decades.
Sure.
I actually studied this. So I went to the Wharton School of Business to get my
Mm-hmm.
MBA. I triple majored, but one of my majors was entrepreneurial management. So I studied
Okay.
this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually was an adjunct professor of entrepreneurship at Lincoln University.
Oh,
And in
wow.
2010, so I've taught this as well. I
Mm-hmm.
taught 5 classes, both in international and domestic entrepreneurship. So,
Okay.
so I know I'm not the only person who can say they've done, studied, taught this, but
Sure.
my guess is that list is relatively short.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the people that have done all three are not
Mm-hmm.
going to be accessible to everyone. So
That's the truth.
yeah, yeah. So and then I go back to when with my last private cloud computing business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when before I launched that venture, I did something that I had never done before in an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurial venture. I actually went back to University of Pennsylvania's campus because I had taken 5 classes in entrepreneurship from 5 professors. I sat
Mm-hmm.
down with those 5 professors and I went to them each with one question, and it was the
Mm-hmm.
same question. It was, if you were to give me one piece of advice that if I implemented it would
Mm-hmm.
maximize the probability I'd succeed in this venture, what would that advice be?
Wow.
And so
Great
I had
question.
5 incredible conversations with my professors.
Mm-hmm.
Each professor gave me a list of books about scaling exponential business growth they wanted me to
Mm-hmm.
read. I took the time to read all the books. And
Mm-hmm.
by the time I finished the last book, it kind of occurred to me, it was like, Jeff, you've read the same book over and over again. And,
Common theme.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
successful entrepreneurs attribute the same things to their success, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, there has to be something in this. So I sat down with a pen and paper. I started jotting down all these repetitive themes that
Mm-hmm.
I had heard about.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, I kind of almost because I still wasn't a believer at that point. So
Sure.
almost as a lark and a joke to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm going to infuse all these things into this new business I'm about to start. I just want
Mm-hmm.
to see what happens. Right.
Okay.
And so I did that. Everything worked, you
Yeah.
know, so then it kind of occurred to me, there is a blueprint for entrepreneurial success.
Oh, that's so
The
good.
blueprint, the blueprint is actually easy to find
Mm-hmm.
because there have been plenty of successful entrepreneurs over the time in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Every successful entrepreneur is vain enough to write a book about their experiences.
I love
You
it,
know,
vain enough.
yeah, those books are purposely written to be easy to read.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can find the blueprint because
Yeah.
you can go onto Amazon.com or Barnes and Noble, whatever your local bookstore is, and you can find these books.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to find. The books are easy to read, so
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to understand, the blueprint. Where it's difficult is implementing the blueprint.
Implementing the
But
blueprint.
I figured out
Yeah.
the blueprint to implement the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
if you take
That's
the
so
time to
good.
figure out what your strengths, weaknesses, likes, and dislikes are,
Mm-hmm.
and you customize everything you're doing to your likes and strengths, and
Mm-hmm.
outsource everything else, you
Wow.
know, uh, you know,
I
then
like
you
that.
actually maximize the probability for success.
I like that. Your
So
strengths, weaknesses, likes, and dislikes,
yeah,
and implement based on that
strengths
matrix,
and
if you
likes.
will.
Right. You
Wow.
you got you got to be good at it, and you got to
Hmm.
want to do it. Right.
Yeah.
We can be good at things that we don't want to do. You don't want to do
So
those things,
true.
right? Everything has to be done, but it doesn't have
Hmm.
to be done by you. And so
That's
I
so
always tell entrepreneurs, I actually think it's more important to know what you don't know than what you do know, right?
yeah.
Because
Hmm.
what you don't know more than likely has to be done. But
Hmm.
if you know that you're not good at it or don't want to do it, outsource
Yeah.
it immediately,
A
right?
hundred percent.
Yeah,
Wow. Because that's something that I live by as as a speaker and a trainer and a coach. I tell myself and my clients there are three things that you need to look at.
yeah,
What can you automate? What
mhm,
can you delegate? And what can you eliminate?
yeah,
This
yeah,
will make your entrepreneurial life so easy. So
absolutely,
easy.
absolutely.
So Jeffrey, I mean, there's so much stuff that you have and so many things that you look at. If somebody wanted to work with you, or
Mhm.
find you or continue this conversation with you, where's the best place for them to find you?
They can go to my website. It's www.thinkbigwithgeoffreykent.com. And
Mhm.
just before anyone, yes, my name has been misspelled all my life. You know, Jeffrey is if you think of the giraffe from Toys R Us,
That's
it's
it.
spelled with a G,
Uh,
Geoffrey.
that
So,
is so good.
but yeah,
So
if
they
you
can
go
find, what will
to,
they find on your website, Jeffrey?
well, I mean, you'll see my bio, so
Mm-hmm.
you'll understand kind of who I am and what I bring to the table. But you'll also see the course. You'll see people that I've helped and their perspective,
Mm-hmm.
on how I've helped them, and then all the different ways that I'm on alignable.com where
Mm-hmm.
I created a group called Entrepreneur University.
Oh,
So
neat.
I actually tell people to go to Alignable first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, go to my website so you know how to get in touch with me. But I
Sure.
actually try to steer people towards everything that I do on Alignable because
Mm-hmm.
everything I do on Alignable I do for free. So I'm
Okay.
like,
Ah,
join my group.
we love free.
Um, I have what they call them smart connects. They're just
Mm-hmm.
networking meetings where people in the
Mm-hmm.
group can meet each other. We do that on
Right.
Tuesdays. I
Mm-hmm.
actually teach snippets of my course for free on Lineable on Wednesdays, right? So
Wow.
I take a concept from each of, so it's a 7-week course. Week 7
Mm-hmm.
is how do you do what I've taught you in weeks 1 through 6, all at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. So
Okay.
on Lineable, what I do is I take those first 6 weeks where I'm teaching specific concepts, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, okay, well, on Lineable, I only have 1 hour when I'm doing
Yeah,
anything.
that's exactly
So,
right.
so let me take a one concept from each week, and for 6 consecutive weeks,
Mm-hmm.
uh, week
And
one,
teach
I'll,
that.
I'll take one concept from week one. I'll teach it
Mm-hmm.
10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
I'll then take an audience member and show them
Mm-hmm.
how to implement what I just taught in their
So
business in
like a hot
5 to 10
seat
minutes.
opportunity.
Right, right.
I like
And
that.
then the balance of the event is question and answer about
Mm-hmm.
that week's topic,
About the thing you do.
right? And
That's so
so
good,
yeah, so
Jeffrey.
that I do that
Yeah.
for 6 consecutive weeks, and then I
Mm-hmm.
just keep repeating it throughout the year.
Yeah.
So
That's
um,
perfect.
The group
Wow.
is actually brand new. I started in
Mm-hmm.
November of last year, started
Mm-hmm.
hosting events in January of this year. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to teach episode one, but
Okay.
it's this is the fifth iteration that I'm
Okay.
doing this year.
So
So
Alignable is where they can
I
find
do the
you.
six and start all over again. Yeah,
That sounds great. Audience, don't worry. There was a lot of information there, but all of his contact information will be in the description below, so you'll be able to get it. And don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. Geoffrey, my friend, before I let you go, we need to play a little game, okay?
sure, absolutely.
All right, this game is super easy. It's called What's Your Favorite? I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and you just tell me what your favorite is. Are you
Okay,
ready to play, sir?
absolutely.
All right, let's do it. What is your favorite book that you've read recently?
Favorite book. Oh, wow. That's a tough one because I read a lot. So,
Mm.
um, man, I can I pass on that one?
You can, I've never had
Yeah,
anybody pass, but
yeah.
we're going to
I'm going
let
to
you
pass
pass.
on.
I've never had it.
I mean,
Ladies and gentlemen,
if
this is
if
a
I had,
first.
I would probably say the Bible. You know, the
Hey,
children's
hey,
Bible.
you can
You know,
you can't go wrong there. But
yeah, yeah.
I don't care. You use the word pass. We've never had it happen in
Right.
7 years. So thank you for being the first. Okay, next one. What's the favorite app on your phone?
Favorite app on my phone. What is that called? Um, I can't even think of the name of the app, but it's basically a golf game.
Okay,
I love golf, and
okay,
so it's just a golf game. I can't think of the name of it,
okay. But that's your favorite
but
app.
yeah,
Okay,
that's my
that's
favorite app.
okay.
Yeah, because it's you know what we do is so stressful, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that you a lot of times you just you want to go to a place where you're not using
Where
your
you're
brain,
not
and,
thinking.
that allows me to get to that place.
I like that. What's your favorite childhood memory?
Favorite childhood memory. Wow. Man, these are good questions because they're incredibly hard for me to answer. Um, favorite childhood memory. I don't know whether this is my favorite, but it's definitely a good one. So when we lived in Germany, we moved to Germany when I was 9. We moved
Mm-hmm.
away back to the States when I was 12. But my my parents reluctantly, allowed me to because a neighbor had puppies, and I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to give away puppies. And I've always been a defender of the meekest and mildest.
Right.
This one puppy was, just the scrawniest puppy in the
Mm-hmm.
litter, and I wanted that puppy. So they actually allowed me to have that puppy while we were in Germany.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
that was it's not my. I'd have to think really hard about my
Right,
favorite,
a favorite.
but that's right up there.
That's so cool. And then the puppy turned out to be what? A pterodactyl. Because that's all I always think of that. Oh, mommy, I want the little puppy, little puppy. And it turns out to be a Great Dane or a Saint Bernard or something
Yeah,
crazy.
well, we had it for I don't we probably had it for like 2 years because we were in Germany for 3 years,
Yeah,
and it got bigger obviously, but
obviously.
I mean it wasn't huge, and
Hmm.
and my mother will always tells me this, how I would not take care of the puppy other than
Sure, of
playing with
course.
it. That she had to take care of the puppy, so that's why when we're
Yeah,
moving
we're
back to the
done.
States, she's like, "No, you're not bringing that puppy
Exactly.
because
And
you're not taking
finally,
care of it."
Geoffrey, tell me this. What is the best advice you've ever given?
Best advice I've ever given.
Hmm.
Again, I don't know whether this is the best advice, but it's good advice for entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
It's take the time to write a business plan.
Oh,
And
wow.
the reason I say that is you have to understand what a business plan is. A business plan is, if you think of when you buy a brand new car, you get an
Hmm.
operations manual.
That's
What does
it.
the operations manual do? The car company has anticipated everything that could potentially go wrong, and they've
Hmm.
given you a solution for everything that could potentially go wrong.
That's so good.
Business plan is pretty much the same thing for a business. What you
Yeah,
want to do is, and you're not going to be able to think of everything, but you want to anticipate,
as much as
what
you
could
can.
potentially go wrong, as well as
Yeah.
what you want to go right,
Mm-hmm.
and then put together your action plan for if this happens, what do I do,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or
Yeah,
what would I like to do? And the
that's
kind
so
of the
good.
way I help entrepreneurs understand this is, you know, you can't achieve something you can't conceive, right? So
That's the
you,
advice right there, Jeffrey. You
yeah,
can't
yeah,
achieve something you can't conceive.
yeah, yeah,
I, that right there is a drop the mic moment.
yeah,
That is so good.
yeah.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for being with me today. This has been really informative. I know I'm taking away a lot.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be on the podcast with you. Thank you for inviting me.
My joy, my pleasure. Okay, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. It means everything to us. So that's it for this week, but we'll be back next week with more Faith on Friday presents.